how to edit viral videos. So as mentioned many times throughout the whole course, we are going to be using Premiere Pro, right? And you're more than welcome to use whatever editing software you want, but just remember that the templates I'm going to be sharing with you, right, just drag and drop, super easy to use, they're only going to work if you use Premiere Pro. So I would highly suggest you get the free trial. You can do that right here. And again, it comes with Photoshop as well. So just get it. Trust me, I've tried all the other ones. This one is by far the best. So you can download the drag and drop templates in the chapter 3 PDF. And again, you can download the entire PDF in the introduction section of this chapter, right? It'll be below that video. Download it, and then you can click the link to download the drag and drop templates, right? So download the entire folder, and then once you do, you're gonna wanna open this file, right? Tube Money Masterclass templates.prproj, right? Which stands for Premiere Pro project. So open up Premiere after you've downloaded it, and you're going to open that file, and it's going to look exactly like this. Now, if you have never used Premiere before, this might look like a lot. You're thinking, Dylan, there's no way I could ever learn how to use this. This looks way over my head. Here's the thing. Most of the stuff in here you don't even need, especially since I've already done most of the work for you and created, I've created a whole sequence in the right, settings to make it the right quality. I've already dragged mostly everything you need here in the timeline. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to use this and how to create your first video inside of here. It's so much easier than you guys think. And so let's get right into it. So to familiarize yourself with Premiere, what we're going to do is we're going to import your videos and your voiceover and anything else that you might need. So first of all, you're gonna need to open up the videos, and remember, this is entirely dependent on what video you chose to make. For me, it's these scary dashcam videos, which most of the videos are already here. I don't even need to download these myself because they're already here. Copy the link, and you're going to paste that into 4K Video Downloader, which again, we talked about in a previous chapter. It's a software that you're going to use to download YouTube videos. So what you want to do is click Smart Mode, right? You want to select a path for the video to be downloaded and select 1080p 60 frames per second. Click OK. And so after you have downloaded both videos, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over to the bottom left corner of your screen. This is where all your files are gonna be. All the videos you import, the voiceovers, anything that you're going to use in the actual video, they're gonna show up here. You can either double click here, it's gonna open up the folder, and then you can then import the file that way, or you can click on File, go down to Import, and do it that way. You can also just straight up drag it. Let's see here. You can just straight up drag it into the timeline like that. So there's multiple ways that you can do it. And I would suggest watching this video back a few times to really get used to it. Watch it a few times, play around in here for yourself, and you will learn it in no time because it's a lot simpler than it looks. Next, we are going to import our actual videos. So I'm just going to drag those here. And now what you can do is you can double click on one of these and it's going to bring it up here. So before we get started actually editing the video, I want to show you a few more things about Premiere Pro. So it's divided into 4 main sections, right? This one right here, this one, and this one. This one in the top left corner, that's where you can actually view your files, right? You can click on the sounds, you can double click on actual videos, right? And you can watch through them, you can cut them up before you drag them over into here. This one on the top right, that is your actual video, right? So whatever you see there is what you're editing down here. This is called a sequence. And it's where you're going to place all the videos, all the sounds, and place everything to really make this video a real video, right? So everything you do down here, you can see, you can drag this, it shows up here. On the bottom left, this is where all of your files are, right? So you can scroll through these and view them up here. And that's essentially it, right? Don't pay attention to all of these. There's so many things here that you don't need. The simplest possible way that I can break it down for you is there's 4 different sections. This section right here is where you view your files that you can select down here, right? So you can double click here and you can view the files. This side, you can view the actual video that you're editing, and down here is your sequence, right? So as you scroll through here, you're going to see it change because this is the end video that you'll eventually export. So before you start, it's important to have this on fit, and you see this little box right here. This is going to vary depending on what type of computer you have, right? And you can change it. So what this does is it changes the quality of the playback. All right, so whenever you're playing this on your computer, if you select it to a 4th, right, it's going to play a 4th of the quality, and it's going to, make it a little easier for your computer to handle. If you have a really good computer, you can play it at full, right? Depending on your computer, you'll try to play it at full, and it will completely glitch out and it won't play smooth. You want it to be playing back as smooth as possible so that when you're editing all of this, it's a simple and painless process, right? It's easy to see, it doesn't glitch out, it doesn't lag. So, play around with it. If your computer can handle it playing at full, then go for it, right? If not, then you're gonna need to change it to a 4th. So we're gonna leave it at full for now, and I am going to go through all of these. So the first thing that I have in here for you is a cut. So let's watch this, for example.
For many years to come. Number 12, La Princesse.
Boom, right? So this fire cut, this is something that you can drag on top of any time you are switching topics or switching footage and you want to add an effect like this. All right, we'll play it again.
Many years to come. Number 12, La.
Right, and all you have to do in order to do that is click on the top one, hold down shift, and click on the bottom one. Now you can just drag this, right? And as you can see, we'll put it down here.
Vehicles ever made, La Princesse.
And boom, there you go. Next up is a credit overlay.
A380 to large cargo transports.
So let's say you took a clip from a YouTube channel and you want to give credit, to kind of mitigate running into copyright issues. Right, so it shows at the top left corner. You can, change this if you want. You can move this to the bottom corner. Just select that and move it like that. Right, and as you play through the video, it's going to credit wherever you took the clip from. If you want to change the text, which I suggest you do, you want to see this little menu right here. Click on the T. Hover over the text, and now you can change it to whatever. Alright, whatever you want. Next, we're going to talk about blurring watermarks.
300 before being shipped to Seattle in 41 parts and constructed at the entrance to.
Right, so this shows a news channel logo. If you don't want to show that, I have an adjustment layer here. So basically, what you can do is click on this, then double click on this blurred area, and you can move this to wherever you want to move it to, right? And it's going to blur it. You can see we can drag this over and we can, blur this right here. It's really cool, right? Next is text effects.
Another, you're going to need a hauling truck. But if you have substantial.
Okay, so if you want to change the text on these, how you do that is you click on the actual text layer itself, click on effects, and then click on the type tool, and now you can change this to whatever you want, right? So huge truck, right? Boom, there you go. Now when you play this back, you can see the changes.
A hauling truck. But if you have
so if you ever need text and you want some cool effects, there are like 100 in here.
The Belaz 75710.
You can see all kinds of them.
By the Belarusian company Belaz.
All right, so
It's
cool.
the highest payload capacity haul truck available. The vehicle itself
To fall into a half sleep not too long after. I started having this weird dream where I was in a closed supermarket running from the manager. Clicking sounds started taking over to the point that my whole dream shifted to incorporate these sounds. and then with that, I was awake. The room was cold for some reason. Then I looked down at...
Right, there you go. So, with all that being said, now you kind of have an idea of, these templates that I gave you, how to use them, how to change them. And now, we're going to get started into creating our video. So, first thing you want to do is either delete all this stuff, which I wouldn't actually recommend, or you can find a starting place. So we'll start right here, and then what you want to do, you want to select this, right, mark in, and that's where the video is going to start. So let's drag our voiceover, and let's cut the beginning to see if it makes sense. All right, so you want to cut out any awkward long pauses, anything that they messed up on. So, right, you want to make sure this starts right away. So what you can do is, have it selected on the selection tool, and then you can just drag this over, right, and then slide it back over. And if you want to start at the beginning, click this, and boom, there we go.
Do you need a good night's sleep? Then find something else to watch, because these dash cam videos are so scary, they'll keep you up tonight.
And if you want to cut the footage, how you do that is you click on this little razor tool, and you just cut it where you want to cut it. Super simple, right? And you can just drag this over, so it deletes the empty space.
They'll keep you up tonight. This first clip was captured in Malaysia.
Alright, so voiceover, looking fine. Now we want to get into the footage. So let's go to the video that we were modeling here. Okay, so the way that you drag footage down into here, so you want to select the clip that you're trying to use. For example, in this one, I am using this one. And you want to play through here and find where it matches up with your voiceover.
Dashcam footage itself features two guys driving through a windy residential area late at night. Everything seems to be going completely normal, when, as they start to make a turn, what looks like a person wearing all white can be seen sitting cross-legged directly in the middle of the road.
Alright, so I'm going to start it right here. So you want to click this mark in, and then play it until you need to stop it.
Okay, that's a bit scary. Yeah. That's a bit scary.
That is very scary.
That's
Alright, my traction control just came on.
yeah, that's no good.
Obviously,
So now what you want to do depends on what your script is. So since we're going to be playing the actual audio in this video,
That's a bit scary.
That is very scary.
you want to cut out your voiceover.
Residential area. Everything appears to be normal until they begin to make a turn and observe what appears to be a person dressed entirely in white, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the road. You can't miss this. The guys.
Okay, so that's where we're going to, make the break. And you want to just click on this video if you're wanting to drag the audio as well, and drag the entire thing down here. Right, just like that. If you only want to drag the video, click this, right, drag video only. You can drag just the video without the sound. And if for whatever reason you want to just drag the sound, you click drag sound only, and it'll drag just the sound, right? And of course, if you want to delete something, just click it or drag and select and press delete on your keyboard. Simple as that. So for the voiceover, he makes a few awkward pauses. They're way too long, and we want to cut those out. So, let's zoom in here. To zoom into the timeline so you can see it better, you want to just pull this and then scroll over so that you can see it better. So again, click the razor tool to cut footage,
This first clip was
and you want to
captured in
cut out the
Malaysia
weird pauses.
2017. The dash.
Right, just like that. And some pauses are okay, but excessive pauses just kind of ruin the video. Right, so just like that. Now you're going to align this. And so since, you know, the voice actor that I hired, he's talking a little bit slower, which is fine. But what I would do in that case is just kind of replay the footage so that, you know, it lines up with the voiceover. So again, what I just did there, and I'll do that again so you can see. If the voice actor is talking a little bit too slow, instead of literally slowing the footage down, you want to kind of replay it in a way that makes sense. So what would make sense in this scenario is to drag it to the end. So now I'll show you what I'm talking about. So now it starts playing here.
Footage shows two individuals driving late at night through a curvy residential area. Everything appears to be normal until they begin to make a turn and observe what appears to be a person dressed in...
Right, so that lines up well. If I just left it here, you know, he would be talking about the person sitting in the road when the footage hasn't even shown that yet. So you want to be aware of that and make sure that you're timing this the right way. And so since this footage isn't long enough, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, hold Alt, and drag it up. And then I'm going to drag it over and cut out, you know, just so it shows the beginning. So again, just drag this over so that it cuts it. And again, I would watch this video over multiple times, and I would watch tutorials on YouTube, right? This guy, right, there's people who have dedicated their lives to mastering one piece of software, and I'm sure they can explain it, you know, even better than I can. So go on YouTube, watch Premiere Pro tutorial for beginners, watch this, watch the video that I'm making over and over again, and you will get the hang of it, right? If it seems like a lot, that's totally normal. Everyone will think that this is a lot when they're first starting out. But watch it again and again. Try it out for yourself. Get your feet wet. Get in there. Try it, and you'll get used to it. So another thing to note, guys, is throughout, you know, while you're editing here, you want to occasionally save the project, and a quick way to do that is just, you know, hold Control and click S, right, and it'll save the project. So now let's watch this over and see what it looks like. So I have these clips here that I put into the beginning. So let's see.
Do you need a good night's sleep? Then find something else to watch, because these dash cam videos are so scary, they'll keep you up tonight. This first clip was captured in Malaysia in 2017. The dash cam footage shows two individuals driving...
Right, so there's kind of a weird cut there. So the way that you can change that is go over here in the bottom left panel here, click Effects, go to Video Transitions, Dissolve, and Cross Dissolve. You want to hold and click this, drag it over to where the footage meets, and let go. Right, now let's watch it.
Malaysia in 2017. The dash cam footage shows two individuals.
So that's a much more clean, smooth cut than just an instant chop. Doesn't seem like much, but it significantly enhances the viewer's experience. So if we go back to the beginning here,
do you need a good night?
You might be wondering, well, Dylan, wait a second. This guy has a giant Chilling Scares watermark over all of these clips. Well, if you remember, I have a layer here in the project that you can download. Drag this, put it over the whole video, and cover it up, right? Super simple, because this guy doesn't own any of these clips. These aren't his clips. So instead of putting in all the extra effort, you know, to go re-download these for yourself, just blur his logo out, and he can't do anything about it because these aren't his clips in the first place, right? They're not his clips. You're not taking his voiceover. We already paraphrased the entire script to make it original. We're, you know, reorganizing the order that the clips are in. We're adding a new hook. We're not just copying his video. These aren't his videos, right? I get so many people telling me, Dylan, you know, this seems a little bit unethical. All you're doing just seems like you're copying other people's videos, right? We're not. And this guy, for the millionth time, he doesn't own these videos. They're free to use. Anyone can use them as long as it's fair use. So now let's start this over. And as you can see, you know, this looks a little bit weird because it's, you know, it stands out a lot. So
do you need a good night's sleep? Then find something else.
What I would actually do is I'm going to cut this layer And then in the section in the beginning, right, we're going to frequently save, of course. I'm going to go over to Effect Controls. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an effect, right? So brightness. I'm going to, hold and click, drag it onto the adjustment layer. Then what I'm going to do is lower the brightness, right? So then it doesn't show the watermark as clearly. And of course, this is going to depend on your specific video.
Do you need a good night's sleep? Then find something else to watch, because these dash cam videos.
Right, and that one, this watermark needs to be a little lower. So make it lower, and then we're going to...
Are so scary, they'll keep you up tonight. This first clip was captured in Malaysia.
We're going to drag, another brightness onto here and lower it so it doesn't show the watermark as much. And you can either do this as you go, or you can come back in the end and do it. I usually do everything as I'm going. Right, so now there's no watermark at all. You can't even see it.
Sleep, then find something else to watch, because these dash cam videos are so scary, they'll keep you up tonight. This first clip was captured in Malaysia in 2017. The dash cam footage shows two individuals driving late at night through a curvy residential area. Everything appears to be normal until they begin to make a turn and observe what appears to be a person dressed entirely in white, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the road. You can't miss this.
Number 6 also, I can see like all the vessels
Right, and the watermark does look a little weird there. So I'm going to cut it right here and raise the brightness a little bit. Which I actually just cut the wrong thing.
In white, sitting cross-legged.
Right, so click that and we're going to raise that up more.
Be a person dressed entirely in white, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the road. You can't miss this.
Number 6 also, I can see like all the vessels
Okay, that's a bit scary.
Yeah,
That's a bit scary.
that is very scary.
That's
Alright, my traction control just came on.
yeah, that's no good.
The guys would then stop and back up their car, clearly afraid, and then take an alternate route.
Right, and so we need to watch the original video to see kind of how this is pieced together.
Obviously terrified, the guys would immediately stop
The video
and back up their car to take a different route. The video offers no further explanation of what happened.
Right, so we're going to start it here.
Obviously terrified, the guys would immediately stop and back up their car to take a different route. The video offers no further explanation of what happened next. So, it's unclear why whoever or whatever this was sitting directly in the middle of the road. On the day of
Right, so boom, there we go. So this guy is just his voiceover. So we're only going to drag the video only. Right, only drag the video. Now let's play it, and we're going to cut out any weird pauses in our voiceover.
The guys would then stop and back up their car. The guys would then stop.
Right. And this might seem really tedious to do, but you have to do it, right? If he's making pauses, sometimes that's, it's hard to avoid.
The guys would then stop and back up their car, clearly afraid, and then take an alternate route. The video doesn't go into detail about what happened afterwards. As a result, it's unclear why anyone or whatever.
And he's taking really long pauses, so if your voiceover guy is making really long pauses and you don't have to deal with editing it, just let him know, right? Say, hey, you're kind of pausing a little too much. try to be more fluent here. Alright, so now let's play it.
The guys would then stop and back up their car, clearly afraid, and then take an alternate route. The video doesn't go into detail about what happened afterwards. As a result, it's unclear why anyone or whatever was sitting in the center of the road.
Alright, and again, more weird pauses that you want to cut out. Make sure you do so if yours has those in it.
Justin Bilton.
Alright, so that's part of the next video. So, let's go ahead and line this
or
up.
whatever was sitting in the center of the road.
And boom, perfect. Right, so we're already off to a good start.
Do you need a good night's sleep? Then find something else to watch, because these dash cam videos are so scary, they'll keep you up tonight. This first clip was captured in Malaysia in 2017. The dash cam
Right, we're not gonna watch the whole thing over, but we're gonna move on to clip number 2. So let's see what it is.
Whenever this on the day of October 15, 2018, police would be flooded with calls from drivers on the highway.
And actually, now that I remember, we're not taking any more clips from this video. We took them from 2 different videos, so we're gonna switch over to that video and find clip number 7, which starts right here.
In August of 2018, Justin Bilton and his 70-year-old father were camping at Glacier National Park in Montana. They had only been in the park for 3 hours when they were informed of an immediate evacuation of the area. A forest fire ignited by lightning the previous night had gotten too far out of control. However, by the time they got the evacuation notice, unknown to them, the only road out of the park had already been engulfed by the fire.
Alright, so we'll stop it right here. Drag just the video only, because again, it had the guy's voiceover in there. And try to line this up.
Justin Bilton and his 70-year-old father were camping in Montana's Glacier National Park in August of 2018.
Right, and this watermark looks really weird, so I'm going to change that really quick.
Justin Bilton and his 70-year-old father were camping in Montana's Glacier National Park in August of 2018. They had just been in the park for 3 hours when they were notified that the area needed to be evacuated immediately. However, by the time they received the evacuation notification, the single road out of the park had already been conquered by the fire, which they were unaware of. What would you do in this situation?
And again, I put hooks in here, right? What would you do in this situation? Wait until you see this. Or I think for this one it was, you can't miss this. Let's see.
You can't miss this.
Alright, you can't miss this, so it's going to make them keep watching. Really important that you do that.
In the center of
So, there's a bunch of pauses in here that need to be cut out. So, let's go ahead and do that. Boom. And I'm going to play this as we go.
Justin Bilton and his 70-year-old father
Got one out there.
were camping in Montana's Glacier National Park in August of 2018.
And some pauses are okay. You don't want to make it completely pauseless or else it's just going to sound weird.
They had just been in the park for 3 hours when they were notified that the area needed to be evacuated immediately.
Alright, so let's move that over a little bit.
Immediately. However, by the time they received the evacuation notification, the single road out of the park had already been conquered by the fire. With
And let's squeeze all this together. Make sure there's none there.
by the fire, which they were unaware of. What would you do in this situation?
Right, so there we go. Let's play that back, make sure it looks all good. Save it real quick.
Justin Bilton and his 70-year-old father were camping in Montana's Glacier National Park in August of 2018. They had just been in the park for 3 hours when they were notified that the area needed to be evacuated immediately. However, by the time they received the evacuation notification, the single road out of the park had already been conquered by the fire, which they were unaware of. What would you do in this situation?
Right, and this footage will have to end a little bit early. And now, let's go find the rest of the clip.
Dad, this is insane.
I know. We don't want you trapped in here. Easy, easy. All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. Slow down. Slow down. Big rut here. Just slow down. We're out of that fire.
We're not out of it yet, Dad. We're not out.
We're good, though.
What?
Easy. Easy. Can't see. Just go easy now. Easy.
Dad, the car's heating up. It's gonna explode.
We're all right.
Dad, what if a tree falls on us?
We're okay. Slow down.
Please, God, help us.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Oh my God. Dad, we can't get out.
I'm getting out. You
We-
can't drive back. We get that out of the road. We get gloves.
Oh my God.
Stop. Stop.
Dad, we gotta get out of here.
Back it up.
A fallen tree.
Alright, there we go. So we're gonna drag, and you know, we're gonna have to make room for this. This is kind of a long clip, so you want to drag everything out of the way and drag both the audio and the video. So here we go. And by the way, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to the audio levels. So as you can see, the voiceover guy
They were unaware of. What would you do in this
is
situation?
almost at the top here,
Do I go?
but this video is kind of quiet. So what you want to do, if that's the case, right click, audio gain, and normalize max peak to 0. And what that's going to do,
Easy.
it's going to make it the same level as the
Had
voiceover.
already been conquered by the fire, which they were unaware of. What would you do in this situation?
Do I go?
And we're going to have to move this watermark because it's not in the right place. Alright,
What
there
would
we
you
go.
do in this situation?
Do I go?
Find out up here in a minute, aren't we?
No, I'm not going to watch through this whole thing because we've already seen it, but you want to make sure the watermark looks fine. And we will come back in later and add background music, but for now, just don't worry about it. So, now we're going to cut out the pauses in our voiceover.
The park by a fallen tree.
Right, and first let's move this watermark so it covers the entire thing. I don't want to make it too big. There we go.
They are trapped inside the.
Dad, we gotta get out of here.
They are trapped.
Right, and you want to do because that's just a, you know, depending on your video, but here we want to add a transition. So video transition, dissolve, cross dissolve. Right, now it looks much better.
Dad, we gotta get out of here.
They are trapped inside the park by a fallen tree in the center of the road. They had no choice but to return. As a result, they ended up going backwards through what they had just done. They abandoned their car when they arrived at their canopy. This armed robbery of a cab driver is captured on
And I think that is
terrifying footage.
Yep, so now let's cut out all of the pauses.
Inside the park by a fallen tree in the center of the road. They had no choice but to return. As a result, they ended up going backwards through what they had just done. They abandoned their car when they arrived at their campsite and began frantically racing towards a nearby lake. They would find 2 park officials in a boat on the lake shoreline by some miracle. Justin and his father were rescued and taken to safety.
Right, so there we go. Let's squeeze all this together. And delete these. Boom. And this is why, guys, it is going to save so much time once you get an editor, because this takes forever. Alright, so now let's play this back and see what it looks like.
They are trapped inside the park by a fallen tree in the center of the road. They had no choice but to return. As a result, they ended up going backwards through what they had just done. They abandoned their car.
Right, and I'm going to change the watermark here.
By lake. They would find 2 park officials in a boat on the lake shoreline by some miracle. Justin and his father were rescued and taken to safety, but not before leaving behind this terrifying footage.
Alright, so we will cut it there and move on to the next clip.
This dashcam footage shows the armed robbery of a cab driver. The driver, Ralph Valletta, had just started his shift. This was his first ride of the day. He was stopped at a light, and the rider can be seen in the back slouched down. But abruptly, he sits up and demands Ralph give him everything he has.
Give me all your money, man. Man, I don't.
He sits up and demands Ralph give him everything he has.
Okay, so drag this here and start the voiceover.
This armed robbery of a slouched in the back seat. I'll give him everything he has.
Right, boom. So now, get out the pauses. And right, there we go. Oh wait, there's 2 more. Right, there we go. So now I'm going to play this back as I'm moving these together.
This armed robbery of a cab driver is captured on dash cam footage. Ralph Valletta, the driver, has just begun his shift. This was his first ride of the day. He was stopped at a red light, and the rider could be seen slouched in the back seat. But he suddenly rises up and demands that Ralph give him everything he has.
Alright, so now
The same.
You don't want to die, man. Okay. Give it all to me now. Okay.
Unbeknownst to
Alright, and we're going to make some space for this and drag both audio and video. Okay, that's not enough space. Let's see. Right, and I'm also going to edit this watermark a little bit so it looks better.
This was his first.
We'll actually darken it some more. Just like that.
This armed robber, the driver, has just begun his shift. This was his first ride of the day. He was stopped at a red light, and the rider could be seen slouched in the back seat. But he suddenly rises up and demands that Ralph.
I'm actually going to add a pause there.
Slouched in the back seat. But he suddenly rises up and demands that Ralph give him everything he has.
Give me all your money, man. Man, I don't. Give me everything you got. Give me it now. All right. I need it now. All right. I can make this the easy way, or we can make this the hard way, man. Everything I got, man. Keep your hand where I can see him. I just started. What else you got? I just started. Let me see your wallet. Let me see your. I don't have anything in my wallet. We can do this the hard way, or we can do this the easy way, man. Let me see your wallet and let me see your phone. I need it all right now. If you don't want to die, man. Okay. Give it all to me now. Okay.
Unbeknownst to the rider. Unbeknownst to the rider. A police cruiser was stopped at the same light directly behind them. At some point during the robbery, the light to the lane they were in had turned
Make some more space there.
green, and seeing that they weren't moving, the officer put on his lights and got out to investigate.
Don't have anything in my.
And actually, we didn't even need to make space there.
Unknown to the rider, a police cruiser had pulled up alongside them at the same light. The light to the lane they were in had turned green and on his lights, and the officer would quickly
Don't have anything in my wallet.
Moving, the officer put on his lights and got out to investigate.
Don't have anything.
his lights and got out to investigate.
Talk to me now. Okay.
Unknown to the rider, a police cruiser had pulled up alongside them at the same light. The light to the lane they were in had turned green at some point during the robbery. And seeing that they weren't moving, the policeman turned on his lights.
Okay, so I'm going to try to make that shorter. Because the clip's too short. Alright, let's see if that helps.
Green at some point during the robbery. And seeing that they weren't moving, the policeman...
Okay, I'll just have to make it longer, add a transition, just like that, and I'll also probably have to add one here as well.
Okay.
Unknown to the rider, a police cruiser had pulled up alongside them at the same light. The light to the lane they were in had turned green at some point during the robbery. And seeing that they weren't moving, the policeman turned on his lights and got out to investigate.
Don't have anything in my wallet. I don't carry your wallet and your phone. I need your wallet and... No, please don't give me my phone. I need that for my... There's a cop behind us. There's a cop behind us. Get out. Oh my God. Lifesaver. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Almost immediately,
Don't have anything in...
Got out to investigate.
I'm going to raise this audio to...
Have anything in my wallet. I don't carry your wallet and your Oh my God.
The officer quickly recognized
And take out the pauses.
Oh my God.
the officer quickly recognized that
Alright, there we go.
a robbery was taking place. As a result, he would order the rider to exit the vehicle, where he would be detained. The rider was arrested and charged with a number of crimes.
And this is the next...
In April of 2000,
Yeah. Okay.
almost immediately,
Actually, let's
almost immediately, the officer would realize that a robbery was taking place. So, in response, he would order the rider out of the car, where he would then be detained. The rider was arrested and later charged with multiple offenses.
Alright, there we go. Video only. We can shorten that as well.
Oh my God.
the officer quickly recognized that a robbery was taking place. As a result, he would order the rider to exit the vehicle, where he would be detained. The rider was arrested and
there's I cut out too many pauses there. Let's add a couple back in.
he would order the rider to exit the vehicle, where he would be detained. The rider was arrested and charged with a number of crimes.
Right, there we go. Now let's go on to the next clip.
In April of 2021, a man named Mitch Kuhn was driving on the highway back from work when he saw this. A child that looks to be wearing a large jacket, or that's possibly wrapped in a blanket, begins walking out in the middle of the highway, just barely missing Mitch's truck. Mitch was towing a trailer and felt that if he abruptly stopped, it would cause an accident. So instead, he opted to call the police, reporting an unattended child walking on the highway. Police assured Mitch that they'd send out patrol units immediately. An hour later, Mitch called again for a follow-up, as well as to offer the footage he had caught on his dashcam. But he was told that it wouldn't be necessary, as the child had been collected safely and was on his way home. However, strangely, police would later state that no child was found, despite officers searching the area until 3:45 a.m. Additionally, they would claim that at no point did they tell Mitch that they had found the child. The next morning, multiple volunteers commenced a search of the area, but no child was ever found, and therefore the search eventually ended. At the time the footage was captured, there were no reports of a missing child in the area. It remains unknown who exactly was captured in this video.
Right, so that one was actually voiceover the entire time. So that's going to be really fun to cut out all those pauses.
In April of 2021, a man named Mitch Kuhn was traveling home from work on their highway when he noticed this. A toddler, dressed in a huge jacket or possibly wrapped in a blanket.
Let's move that back just a little bit, because I need a pause there.
Noticed this. A toddler, dressed in a huge jacket or possibly wrapped in a blanket, begins wandering out into the center of the highway, just dodging Mitch's truck. Into the center of the highway, just dodging Mitch's truck. Mitch was towing a trailer and was concerned that abruptly stopping would result in an accident. Instead, he called the cops to report an unaccompanied toddler walking down the highway. Mitch was told that patrol units would be dispatched.
Right, that's too much of a pause there.
Unaccompanied toddler walking down the highway. Mitch was told that patrol units would be dispatched right away. Mitch called an hour later for a follow-up and to share the footage captured on his dash cam. But he was assured that it wasn't necessary because the child had been safely rescued and on his way home. Strangely, despite officers searching the area until 3:45 a.m., authorities later stated that no child had been found. They would also state they never informed Mitch that they had located the child.
Right, so this needs to be
They never
moved back a little bit.
stated that no child had been found.
Right, so I'm going to cut it right here.
Authorities later stated that no child had been
That was the wrong video.
Authorities later stated that no child had been found. They would also state
Right, so this needs to
found. They would also that no child had been found. Authorities later stated that no child had been found. They would also searching the area until 3:45 a.m. Authorities later stated that no child had been found. They would also state they never informed Mitch that they had located the child. Multiple volunteers began searching the area the next morning, but no child was ever found, and the search was eventually called off. There were no reports. Volunteers began searching the area the next morning, but no child was ever found, and the search was eventually called off. There were no reports of a missing child in the area when the footage was taken. It's still unclear who was caught on camera in this footage. This dash cam...
Right, there we go. So, now we need to cover the watermark. Alright.
weren't moved. The officer with a number of crimes. 2021, a man named Mitch Kuhn was traveling home from work on the highway when he noticed this. A toddler, dressed in a huge jacket or possibly wrapped in a blanket, begins wandering out into the center of the highway, just dodging Mitch's truck. Mitch was towing a trailer and was...
Too much of a pause again. I'm going to bring this back a little bit.
In April of 2000, dodging Mitch's truck. Mitch was towing a trailer and was concerned that abruptly stopping would result in an accident. Instead, he called the cops to report an unaccompanied toddler walking down the highway. Mitch was told that patrol units would be dispatched right away. Mitch called an hour later for a follow-up and to share the footage captured on his dash cam, but he was assured that it wasn't necessary because the child had been safely rescued and on his way home. Strangely, despite officers searching the area until 3:45 a.m., authorities later stated
and this needs to be
been found. They would also state they never informed. There were no reports of a missing child in the area. They had located the child. Multiple volunteers began searching the area the next morning, but no child was ever found, and the search was eventually called off. There were no reports of a missing child in the area when the footage was taken. It's still unclear who was caught on camera in this footage.
Right, and this needs to be moved over again. There we go. Okay, so next clip.
This dashcam footage was captured in the streets of Taiwan. Right away, it's clear the video takes place in the midst of a storm where the winds are strong enough to throw around debris. An actual tornado was forming right behind them and quickly heading in their direction.
Okay.
Camera in this footage.
That goes on for a little bit too long.
This dashcam footage was shot along Taiwanese streets. It's evident right away that the video is taken in the middle of a storm. A storm with strong enough gusts to hurl.
Okay. Let's first of all, let's
This
change this watermark blur and make it brighter.
This dashcam footage was shot along Taiwanese streets. It's evident right away that the video is taken in the middle of a storm with strong enough gusts to hurl debris around. Debris is even observed flying against the windshield at one point. However, the drivers had no idea that a tornado was brewing directly behind them and going straight towards them. The dashcam video caught the exact...
And let's see...
An actual tornado was forming right behind them and quickly heading in their direction. The dashcam footage captures the exact moment the tornado went directly through them.
Okay, so now let's this needs to be, there we go, just like that. And let me add another dissolve
directly behind them and going straight towards them. The dashcam video caught the exact...
Oh wait, no, this needs to be audio and video. There we go.
Straight towards them. The dashcam video.
The dashcam footage captures the exact moment the tornado went directly through them. It was even strong enough to lift vehicles off the ground, which can actually be seen with the white van that pulls out onto the road. The wheels of the vehicle leave the ground, and it begins to get full-on dragged by the tornado, seemingly disappearing. But once the tornado passes, it can be seen much further down the road, wedged in between two trees. More concerning, however, is the person that gets thrown by the tornado on the right side of the road. Unfortunately, this woman would suffer major injuries and would be taken to the hospital. The storm would go on to produce further damage in the form of 50 inches of rain that would cause multiple deadly landslides.
Alright, there we go. So let's drag this over and cut out all of the pauses.
The dashcam video caught the exact moment the tornado hit them head on. It was even powerful enough to lift the vehicle off the ground, as seen by the white van pulling onto the road. The vehicle's wheels leave the ground as it begins to be carried by the...
Let's squeeze all these together. Just like that.
The dashcam video caught the exact moment the tornado hit them head on. It was even powerful enough to lift the vehicle off the ground, as seen by the white van pulling onto the road. The vehicle's wheels
Alright, and that's a little bit too much of a pause. I mean, too little of a pause.
seen by the white van pulling onto the road. The vehicle's wheels leave the ground as it begins to be carried the road. The vehicle's wheels leave the ground as it begins to be carried by the tornado. The vehicle's wheels leave the ground as it begins to be carried by the tornado, disappearing in the process. However, once the tornado has passed, it can be seen trapped between two trees considerably further down the road. More alarming is the person who is thrown onto the right side of the road by the storm. Sadly, this woman would sustain serious injuries and be brought to the hospital. The storm would go on to do even more damage, with 50 inches of rain causing many fatal landslides. This footage.
Right, and there we go. So, let's see if the watermark is fine. Okay, good. So now, next clip.
This video was taken in Russia. Tries to escape, but the two men get in the way and do their best to prevent it.
So, video only.
This footage was shot in Russia. Slides. This footage was shot in Russia. It shows This footage was shot in Russia. It shows dashcam footage of a man driving down a lengthy stretch of barren dirt road. Then, there's a car positioned in such a way that it's obstructing the street up ahead. When two men with baseball bats approach the driver, it becomes evident that this is a robbery and the parked car was set up as a makeshift barricade. The driver tries to flee, but the two men jump.
Okay, and I think we passed the video part.
But the two men get in the way and do their best to prevent it.
Jump in the way and do everything they can to stop him. Fortunately.
Okay, here we go.
Fortunately, the driver had.
So we're gonna have to put our own background music over that, because you never want to use a just section of clip where it's somebody else's background music. A lot of times it's copyrighted. Okay. Oh, there we go.
Fortunately, the driver had a window of opportunity and took advantage. He slammed on the gas and was able to get away unscathed. He then drove around the roadblock and was free. It's unknown if the two men with baseball bats were ever caught.
Okay.
Everything they can to stop him.
And this needs to be like that, and I'm going to add
everything they can to stop him. Fortunately, the motorist saw an opening and took advantage of it. He slammed on the gas and managed to avoid being harmed. He was then able to drive around the roadblock and get away. It's unclear whether the two males with baseball bats were ever caught. A massive, catastrophic bush.
And let's squeeze all these together and cut this.
Fortunately, the motorist saw an opening and took advantage of it. He slammed on the gas and managed to avoid being harmed. He was then able to drive around the roadblock and get away. It's unclear whether the two males with baseball bats were ever caught.
Okay. So, next clip.
Fortunately,
And I
the
think
dra-
we're getting close to the final one, luckily.
In late November of 2015, a large catastrophic bushfire broke out in South Australia. This dashcam footage was captured by one of the fire trucks responding unnervingly fast.
Alright. Here we go. And this watermark is on the other side again, so...
Caught. A massive catastrophic.
And this one also needs dip to black.
All bats were ever caught. A massive catastrophic bushfire erupted in South Australia in late 2015. One of the fire trucks responding to the incident captured this dashcam footage. Massive smoke clouds are visible from the beginning of the film, revealing how enormous the fire had grown. As the trucks move forward, visibility deteriorates, eventually forcing the fire trucks to come to a halt. Then, in the distance, the fire itself can be seen moving unnervingly quickly towards them. A collision occurred due to a misunderstanding between...
Fire itself can be seen,
And I think this is...
spreading towards them unnervingly fast. A mis-
Right, there we go. And all of this is after this clip. And I think I'm even going to change this right here as it gets dark. So lower the brightness here. Alright, so there we go.
Then, in the distance, the fire itself can be seen moving unnervingly quickly towards them.
I'm gonna need to switch that like that.
Unnervingly quickly towards them.
Oh, and I forgot to add the audio.
Quickly
And this raises the volume.
towards them.
Here comes a hitch coming. Nick's out here.
And that's a little too much, so
Moving unnervingly quickly towards them.
Here comes a hitch coming. Nick's out here. We're gonna go in a burn over very, very quickly now. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Burn over, Scotty, burn over. Burn over, Scotty. Jesus Christ.
A collision occurred due to
A miscommunication between the two trucks resulted in a collision. The truck in the front was attempting to back up out of the fire, while the truck with the dashcam was entering what's known as a burnover. A burnover
and we'll probably have to use our own version of a burnover because I think that's something he
A
added.
burnover is a fire truck protection protocol where the truck stays in place and the crew deploys Velcro blankets to protect themselves from the heat. Water is sprayed outside of the vehicle to keep it from catching on fire, and in the inside, breathing masks are used by the crew. During this protocol, however, the crew from the truck in the front can be heard desperately explaining
But those also aren't his videos, so we're gonna use them anyway.
how they didn't have water for a burnover, or rather their truck's sprinkler system wasn't working properly.
Alright.
A miscommunication between the two trucks resulted in a collision.
A collision occurred.
It's known as a burnover. Wasn't working properly.
Okay, here we go.
Due to a misunderstanding between the two trucks. The front truck was attempting to back up out of the fire, while the dash cam truck was entering a burnover. A burnover is a fire truck protection practice in which
And we need to change the thing here as well.
Practice in which the truck remains stationary while the crew uses Velcro blankets to keep cool. To keep the vehicle from catching fire, water is sprayed on the outside. To keep the vehicle from catching fire, water is sprayed on the outside, while the crew uses breathing masks on the inside. During this procedure, however, the crew from the front truck can be heard frantically stating, during this procedure, however, the crew from the front truck can be heard frantically stating, during this procedure, however,
or rather their truck's sprinkler system wasn't working properly.
System was malfunctioning.
They couldn't stay in place.
And this is actually audio and video, so we're gonna need to make room.
They couldn't stay in place and were forced to drive forward in the hopes of escaping the fire, which you can actually see in the video as the truck fades into the distance. Fortunately, this move would end up saving their lives. They would make it to the other side of the fire, and everyone inside the truck, as well as the one with the dash cam, would make it out with minimal injuries.
Alright, so here we go.
They couldn't stay put and were forced to move forward in hopes of escaping the fire, which you can see as the truck escaping the fire, which you can see.
Yes, weird cutoffs there.
Forward in hopes of escaping the fire.
If he edited the audio or what, but I don't know what that's about.
Hopes of escaping the fire, which you can see. Escaping the fire, which you can see as the truck fades into the distance in the video. Fortunately,
It sounds like he, the guy who recorded this tried to, like, edit the audio himself and he, like, cut off the ends of the words.
Fades into the distance in the video. Fortunately,
this is weird, abruptly ends, like, and he's not even done with the word.
In the video. Fortunately, this decision would save their lives. They'd make it to the other side of the fire, and everyone inside the truck, including the driver with the dash cam, would be unharmed. Before we get to number 1, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video and want to see more like this one. This footage was
boom, we don't even need to cut that, it's so good.
This footage was captured way back in 2012. It takes place near an airport in Moscow, Russia. The airport is right next to a highway, and on December 29th, this dashcam footage would capture the disturbing moments a plane missed the runway and crash landed just on the right side of the highway.
Paste a stock photo here.
Would be unharmed. Before we get to number 1, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video and want to see more like this one. Before we get to number 1.
Right, we'll make this look a little more decent. So take cross dissolve and put it on the end.
Before we get to number 1, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video and want to see more like this one.
And boom. That's so simple to do, but so many people are going to subscribe. Because if they're watching this far, then they're obviously enjoying the video and want to see more.
Unharmed. Before we get to number 1, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video and want to see more like this one. This footage was taken near an airport in Moscow, Russia in 2012. The airport is situated adjacent to the highway and on December 29th, dashcam footage captured the terrifying moments when a plane missed the runway and crashed into the roadway on the right side. Missed the runway and crashed
Just on the right side of the highway.
Oh, there we go.
It turns out the plane.
Okay, we need to make space for that. And add a cross dissolve here. Raise the volume. I don't think that actually did it. Okay. That's a little too loud. So if it's too loud, I usually just set it to 5.
crashed into the roadway on the right side. The plane had
It turns out the plane had mistakenly overshot the runway because of bad weather conditions, so when it landed it didn't have enough room to brake. This left it no choice but to go directly into the highway, causing plane seats and other debris to shoot towards passing vehicles, all of which can be clearly seen in the footage. At the time of the crash, the plane was only carrying crew members. No passengers were on board. But unfortunately, 5 of the 8 total crew members would lose their lives. The driver of the vehicle with the dash cam would make it out unharmed.
And boom, we're finally on the last clip here. So let's drag that in and get started.
The plane had overshot the runway due to severe weather conditions. As a result, it didn't have enough clearance to brake when it landed. This left it little choice except to crash into the highway, scattering jet seats and other debris to crash into the highway. Scattering jet seats other debris into oncoming traffic. All of this is clearly seen in the video. The plane was only carrying crew members at the time of the incident. There were no passengers on board. Unfortunately, 5 of the crew's total of 8 members would perish. The driver of the vehicle, equipped with a dash cam, would exit unharmed. There's one thing.
And this is our creative transition ending. So here we go.
Cam would exit unharmed.
That needs to be way before.
Equipped with a dash cam would exit unharmed. There's one thing even more terrifying than these clips, and it's what your life would be like without watching more of our videos.
I'll take it out to here. Because you want to give them at least a second or two to actually have time to click on the video.
Our videos.
Boom, that is perfect. So we're gonna mark out right now. If we take a look at this ridiculous mess of clips, we'll go back to the beginning.
Do you need a good night's sleep? Then find something else to watch, because these dash cam videos are so scary, they'll keep you up tonight. This first clip was...
So I'm going to add a transition here as well. So dip to black, or actually I think we can do this one and it'll work.
This first...
Oh no, that's the wrong one. Okay, so do dip to black.
Tonight. This first clip was captured in Malaysia in 2017.
Okay, so we have basically everything done. We only have a few more things to do. Add our own watermark to the video and add background music. So let's go ahead and add the our own watermark first. And by a watermark, all I mean is text. So click on this T here. Let's start this over from the beginning. Click on this T and go to just at the top. And the channel that I'm going to be uploading this on is called Chilling Spooks. So you're going to go over to Effect Controls, and you're going to click on the text here to drop this down. And I'm going to change the font to something that looks a little more spooky than that. And I actually have to highlight all of that. So let's do Dusk Demon. There we go. And so, you know, you want to lower that a little bit so it's not totally visible. And that almost looks too fake. It doesn't look really spooky at all. So we'll use this one. That one looks great. And we're going to put it in the bottom right corner. So make that a little less visible. Because again, these aren't even our clips, so I don't even care if somebody takes them. You know, I didn't record these videos myself. But you want to add something so that nobody can literally re-upload your whole video without making any changes like we have here to this guy's video. So I think this will work. Yep, there we go. So you want to drag this text across the entire video, just like that.
Unfortunately, despite officers searching at some point, as a result, appear. Do you need?
Okay, so now let's find some background music. So open up your channel on YouTube. Head over to YouTube Studio, Audio Library, and let's find some scary sounds. And there's 1,368 songs, so you know, search through here and spend some time on it, right? If you find one really good one, you can use that for all of the videos. So spend time, find a good one, and I'll try to find one here for you guys that you can use. So give me just a second. Alright, so after searching for like 30 minutes, finally found some good ones. The problem is you have to include some information in your description, right? So if you use one of these, right, this is no problem at all. Literally just copy and paste this. All you have to do, copy, paste this in your description of the video that you use, and you'll be good to go. No issues. So here's the ones that I found. This one. Right, I'm sure you can line that up with something shocking. So I'm going to go ahead and download this one. Right, I'm going to line that up with something, probably when that person was found in the middle of the road. It's going to add so much to the video. And these are the 3 other ones I found. And, you know, feel free to, you know, I don't even think you can search through here, but these are what they're called. Right, that one's good. So probably gonna use this one. Oh yeah, we're definitely using this one. Okay. So there they are, guys. If you want to use these for yourself, the Halloween Dawn and Midnight in the Graveyard are the ones we're going to use. Right? This one for that creepy sound effect at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And this one for the rest of the background music. right? So take some time, search through the audio library on YouTube, and I promise you, you're gonna find good stuff, right? No need to pay for anything when there's good stuff on here for free. So this one I'm gonna play throughout the whole video. Right, so that can play throughout the whole video. And what you want to do is you want to hold Alt, click, and drag to copy the whole thing. Right, you might need to do that a few times. Select all of these, nest, okay, right click, audio gain. I usually do normalize max peak to -30. That usually sets it at a good level. But you know, you want to make sure and listen to it.
Need a good night's of what appears to be was Sit Road.
We'll do 25 because you want to be able to hear it a little bit, but not too much. Right, there's a very important difference between just having it there in the background and it being overwhelming.
Do you need?
Because really, people should only hear it when it's silent.
A good night's of what appears to be a person. The guys, and then take it happening in the center of the road. Justin Bilton and his
Big rut here.
had just died, rescued and taken to safety, but not before leaving this terrifying footage. This armed robbery of a cab driver seen slouching.
Easy way? I know, it's okay. Okay. Give it all to me now. Okay. Okay.
Unknown to the rider, a police cruiser had pulled up alongside them at the same light. The light to the lane they were in had turned, got out to investigate.
Don't have anything in my wallet. I don't carry your wallet in your phone. I need your wallet in. No, please don't give me my phone. I need.
The rider was a robbery was taking place. As a result, he would order the rider to exit the vehicle, where he would be detained. The rider was arrested and charged with a number of crimes. In April of 2021, a man named Mitch Kuhn was traveling would result in an accident in the child. Debris is enough to lift the vehicle.
Okay, so that background music is perfect. Now I want to look at this one. Right, so let's find some spooky things that happen throughout this video.
Dash cam footage shows two.
Probably this
Find
one.
something else to watch, because these dash cam videos are so scary, they'll keep you up tonight. This first clip was captured in Malaysia in 2017. The dash cam footage shows two individuals driving late at night through a curvy residential area. Everything appears to be normal until they begin to make a turn and observe what appears to be a person dressed entirely in white.
Right there, this is gonna be good.
Be normal until they begin to make a turn and observe what appears to be a person dressed entirely in white, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the road. Entirely in white, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the road. You can't miss this. In the center of the road. Justin Bilton and his 70.
Alright, my traction.
That is very scary. Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit scary.
Yeah.
You don't want to add too much. This sounds ridiculous.
Dressed
Fake, but
entirely in white, sitting cross-legged.
just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. And boom, there we go, guys. That is a perfect viral video. So what's next? Next, you have to actually export the video. To do that, you want to go to File, Export, Media. And one thing too to note, when you're using the Mark In tool, you want to go to the beginning and go over one frame and set it there. Right? So now go to export media, and you want to name this file something that you're going to remember, and then make sure the frame rate, uncheck this and set it to 60 because it's the highest it can possibly be, you know, for YouTube. So again, name it something that you can remember, put it in a place where you'll remember on your computer, and click export, and that is literally it. And depending on how good your computer is, this might go really quick, or it might take a few hours. Totally depends on how fast your computer is. So milestone number 3 is to edit your first video, right? Get it done. I know it's going to be a lot of work. And when you do, let us know in the private Facebook group, right? Tell us when you finished editing your first video. Throw it in all caps, right? Because this is a tough milestone. Include hashtag #TeamNoExcuses in your post. And remember, if you complete all the milestones throughout this course, there's a very special surprise. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.